The Jewish people have just come through a very difficult time. Bein HaMetzarim, the 3 weeks of mourning between the fast of the 17th of Tammuz and the 9th of Av. Historically, many terrible things have happened during this time. The destruction of the first temple, the destruction of the second temple, the expulsion from Spain, many terrible pogroms, and of course the Holocaust. And in our own days, it's also been a very difficult time with what's happening in Gaza and the land of Israel, missiles being fired at Israel almost on a daily basis, piguim, terrorist attacks. And of course, it all began when those 3 young yeshiva boys were kidnapped and ultimately lost their lives. But now we come into a new time of the year, the time of Nechama, the time of consolation, where we read 7 special haftarot, beginning with the Shabbat after Tisha B'Av and leading up to Rosh Hashanah. How does one find consolation during this time? On a personal level, but more particularly on a national level. How is the Jewish people going to feel comfort and consolation after all of the travails they have gone through? And I think the answer lies with a very humble little creature, in fact, a rodent. There is an ancient midrash called Perek Shira. We're not sure exactly who wrote it or how old it is. It is certainly more than 1,000 years old. And Perek Shira describes the different parts of nature, be they mountains, the sun, the moon, and different creatures. And each one says its own unique praise to God. In Perek Shira, you have a number of different natural entities, and each one has their own verse. And that verse, of course, is specific to them. It's the praise that they would say if they could speak. And for many generations, commentaries have tried to understand Perek Shira and why it is that this verse goes with this particular aspect of nature. The problem is that some of these aspects of nature, some of these animals are very difficult to identify. They are Hebrew words that do not appear anywhere else. And one of these elusive and mysterious creatures is called the Ritzifi, or in some versions of Perek Shira, it's called the Onchi. And Rabbi Yaakov Emden, a famous German rabbi in the 18th century, said that he searched all of rabbinic literature and he could not find what these animals were. He had no idea. What is the verse that is said by the strange creature? And it's the verse from the beginning of the Haftarah of this week's parasha, that famous Haftarah, Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, where God says to the prophet, go and console my people. Comfort them, says Hashem, after all the travails they've gone through. What is this creature and why is its verse Nachamu? Some commentators explain that it is a type of a bird or a migrating bird, or perhaps a bird that doesn't migrate. Rabbi Nosson Slifkin, also known as the zoo rabbi, identifies this creature as a bat. Of course, a bat isn't a bird, it's a mammal, and bats do not migrate. What do when it becomes very, very cold? They stay where they are. They stay in their caves. But what do they do to preserve heat? Other birds fly off to warmer climates. Not so the bats. Bats huddle together in enormous numbers to keep their warmth. And it's the bat who says this verse, comfort, comfort my people. What is the connection? And he explains as follows, a really very beautiful explanation. First of all, the bat doesn't migrate. Things may be hard. Winter may be all around. The travails, the suffering may be everywhere. But we're not going to leave our land. And that's the first message to the Jewish people. Things may be tough. Don't leave. Don't leave your community. If you're living in the land of Israel, don't leave Israel. Stay together. And what will give you that warmth? What will give you that comfort? Huddling together, staying together. Achdut, unity. That's what will give us consolation. Although things may be difficult, we feel much better. We feel much more consoled. And it's absolutely amazing that during those 18 days this year in the month of Tammuz, after the 3 young teenagers were kidnapped, the Jewish world saw something unprecedented, or something that hadn't happened perhaps for thousands of years. Everybody was united. No matter what shade of Jew you were, whether you were ultra-Orthodox or modern Orthodox or Reform or Conservative, everybody came together. They huddled together, as it were, to pray for the return of these 3 boys. We were like those bats who find warmth in the cold of the world by coming together. So please God, we should take that as our comfort. Yes, we've been through travails. Yes, we've been through difficult times. But if we stick together, if we do not leave one another and we huddle together, we will find warmth and we will find consolation and comfort. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.